Good afternoon, ma'am, and my name is Jan Dumamag, and today I'm gonna reporting the Aldo Leopold's Land of Ethics. So, Aldo Leopold in his Asand County Alamanak holds that a thing is right when it's tend to preserve the integrity and stability, the beauty of biotic community. So, what is biotic community? A biotic community, it is our nature and it's our environment that we need to take care of it. So, kung dili po nato na siya ampingan, kita ra gyapon mag-suffer sa mga consequences nga atong nabuhat sa atong community or sa atong nature. Next is, Leopold calls the biotic community is considered as locus of intrinsic value. So, what is intrinsic value? Intrinsic value, it is a valuable. Even though nga wala kay nato na kanang wala kay nato hatag pagtagad nga kuan na nato value ang atong community, it is helpful and it is existed nga makatabang jud sila sa ato ang pangadlaw-adlaw nga panginabuhi sa ato ang life. And then a concrete implication of this view is that the welfare of an individual member of ecosystem is not the valuable preservation of integrity of the whole biotic community. So, as I said earlier, that our communities, we need to take care. It is our responsibility nga ampingan nato ang ato ang community because we are the one who suffer in case of mga consequences na mga baha, landslide. Kita ra maghihapoy mag-suffer ana sa mga consequences nga or sa ato ang mga wrongdoings nga atong nabuhat regarding sa atong community. So, we are the one or we are responsible to take care of our community in order as nga makatabang pud sila sa atong pangadlaw-adlaw nga panginabuhi and also nga makatabang pud sa community para ma-preserve ang atong community and atong nature. The land of ethics place human existence and context of community as part of an ecological whole, as such as human being must be viewed as conquerors, but as a members of life-giving system. So, although Leopold state that ang kuan ko no, it says nga dili daw conquerors ang usa ka tawo or ang tawo kundi kita mo'y maghatag og kinabuhi sa usa ka environment aron nga ma-improve ang kuan, improve ang ecosystem. The land of ethics places human existence in the context of community as part of an ecological whole. As such as human being must be viewed as conquerors but as a member of life-giving system. So, dili ta makaingon nga conquerors ta. So, we are the one who give a life and supporting system of our environment. Kay inana kita example kanang nagamit ta sa atong environment, para example maghimo tagbalay, magamit sa mga industriya or something mga paghanap buhay mga inana. And also nga kitang mga tao dili ta always nga kuan kana bitang magamit always sa ato ang environment, but also nga muhatag pud ta sa ato ang responsible ta to take care of our environment, magtanom tag mga kahoy nga, and also kana kung unsa man galing tong mga nangawala nga mga kuan, mga kahoy nga ato ang gipanggamit is atong ibalik in order as nga kuan ang environment nato will maintain stable, dili siya mahimo or ginatawag nato deforestation nga mausab ang atong climate kay mao man na siya consequences sa mga wrongdoings nga gibuhat nato tungod padulbatok sa ato ang environment. Leopold holds that in order to establish ethical relationship with the land, human must develop not only their rational, also their emotional intelligence. So, we are rationally capable. Kaya na ito maghuna-huna o kung unsay makapaayo sa ato ang kaugalingon for our future. But, in this type of kuan, sa kay Aldo Leopold of Land of Ethics, ningon siya nga, dili lang daw ang ma-develop ang rational sa usa ka tawo but the emotional intelligence and kuan in correlation with the nature. Kay example og kanang ingana nga mga situation or ingana nga mga rational nga maayo kay ta mo hunahuna maghimo tag mga furniture, balay gamit diri og mga kuan yuta or something like kanang mga kahoy gamit nato diri sa pang kuan para mo improve ang kabuhayan. So dili inana nga mga pamaagi sa usa ka tawo, kundi kanang iyang i-improve or i-develop pod ang iyang emotional intelligence nga kanang maghuna-huna ka ba nga what if no, if sa kadugay nako sa paggamit sa kuan sa kanang nature, what if ang nature na po'y mubalos nga og dili mao sa ako like makasama, like mag-landslide, magbaha o grabe-grabe kay wala na may kuan, and then mag-climate change. So mao na siya nga we need to develop not only in rational thinking but a kuan emotional intelligence in order as nga mahimong stable ang kuan kay ang nature nga atong gigamit kay di ba kita may mogamit sa atong nature, but also kita po'y mutabang sa pag-improve and preserve sa atong nature nga atong gigamit. And the next is for Leopold, land is not a merely soil but a fountain of energy flowing to the plants, animals, humans, and back food chain sustains life. So ang environment or ang nature, kita mo'y makakontribute tanan. Tawo, animals, plants, everything nga naay kinabuhi sa ato ang kalibutan. So, it like a life cycle bitaw nga. Like, dili lang kita mismo ang makagamit or dili lang kita mismo ang makakontribute sa environment, but also na ang laing mga laing mga living organisms nga nagamit pod also sa atong environment kay like ila ang mga balay, mga pagkaon or mga prutas sa mga langgam, sa mga hayop na sila'y kasilungan. So inana ang kanindot ang kuan or inana ka importante ang nature sa ato ang kinabuhi, not only for our life, in our life, but also in the life of our animals, mga living organisms, mga kuan, birds, mga ingana, and also plants. So dapat sa atong thinking, atong naon nga dili lang kita mismo ang nagamit or responsible nga nagamit sa kuan sa environment or sa nature, but also daghan pang mga kinabuhi, dili lang ang tawo kundi ang naapay laing mga kinabuhi nga nagamit or naggamit sa kuan sa atong nature. And ecological concerns is a key to appreciating one's duty towards the environment. So this is the last part of my report, so ecological concerns. So ang ecological nga konsensya ko sa base sa kuan sa our environment, it is our duties to take care, and we are responsible to preserve our nature for the future, and dili lang sa future generations but also the future nga mga kuan animals, plants nga nag-exist di aning world. What if kita, example, kita always na nagamit sa nature, wala ta naghuna-huna nga napadaylaing kinabuhi nga nanginahanglan sa tong nature, di ba? At the times goes by, wala na sila magamit. So kinsa ang mahayan, di ba? Even though nga wala sila rational thinking nga makaingon nga grabe kay ang tao nga ingana makagamit, but also we have the consensya nga maka-feel ta og guilt sa atong self kung unsa jud ang ato ang responsible sa environment. So, and that's all my report. Thank you.
So my topic is all about climate change and sustainable development. In 1987, the World Commission on Environment and Development released the Brundtland Report. So what is Brundtland Report? It is all about they warn the human activities like using too much natural resources were harming the planet. They warn us that if we keep using earth resources selfishly, the future generation will suffer. So they introduce sustainable development, means the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. In short, we should use the earth resources carefully so that the next generation will still have what they need. So the idea of equity brings up. So So equity means being fair in production and consumption, considering not only humans but nature itself. So in chapter 7, it's all about environmental ethics. Humans are addicted to buying and consuming more and more. It explains overconsumption, the idea that people don't know the word enough anymore. So Aristotle even had a word for this long ago called pleonexia, means endless greed. If we don't change, we're harming not just ourselves, but the future of our planet. So, mao na ang gingon nga og dili nga tuusbo ang atong batasan, kita ra gihapon ang mag-antos o ang kalibutan ang madaot.
So, the Earth is getting warmer, mainly because we burn fossil fuels like coal and oil and cut down forests. So this releases lots of carbon dioxide into the air, trapping heat and causing the planet's temperature to rise. This warming leads to more extreme weather like floods and droughts, harming both people and the environment. Melting ice causes sea levels to rise, threatening coastal areas. Many plants and animals are at risk of extinction because of these changes. So we have the Montreal Protocol and the Kyoto Protocol. So these protocols are international treaties that seek to decrease the emission of greenhouse gases that cause damage to the ozone layer. So when we say Montreal Protocol, it is a landmark international agreement signed in 1987 to protect the Earth's ozone layer by phasing out the production and consumption of ozone-depleting substances, which are the chemicals that break down the ozone layer in the stratosphere. The Montreal Protocol is considered one of the most successful environment treaties and is the first to achieve universal ratification, meaning all countries in the world are parties to it. And then the next is the Kyoto Protocol. So the Kyoto Protocol was an international agreement signed in 1997 that committed 37 industrialized countries and the European Union to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions by an average of 5% below 1990 levels during the 2008 to 2012 period. It built upon the 1992 United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So, humans seem to lack what Aristotle has called practical wisdom in living in its own home. And Erasm Kohak believes that it is only by recalling and establishing our essential place in nature as dwellers. So, as Erasm Kohak stated, Erasm Kohak is a Czech philosopher that argues that human needs to fundamentally change the relationship with nature. So he believes that we've become disconnected from our role as dwellers. So when we say dwellers, it signifies a philosophical approach that encourages a respect and ethical relationship with nature, recognizing our role as integral participants in the ecological system and in the natural world, instead acting as marauders, which is the term marauder typically refers to a person who roams about in search of things to steal or destroy, often associated with violence and plunder. So, Erasm Kohak stated that humans need to fundamentally change their relationship with nature, and he believes that we've become disconnected from our role as dwellers who exploit and as dwellers in the natural world instead acting as marauders who exploit and damage it.
I'm Paul Aquino, so I will be reporting about the topic of Kohak and the human being as dweller. So, the thinker Erasm Kohak think it is the forgotten meaning of culture that is at the root of human beings' alienation from his or her environment. So, culture is not merely the collection of artifacts or the manifestation of people, taste, and appreciation of beauty. So, and as a human being, we are dweller of us in this earth. So, dili kita nga nag-stay lang here nga just nakabalo na ta before sa tanan, but we are here as a dweller. We do not know about sa ato ang where our came from or ahatagikan. So ang kuani Kuhake, it thinks that the forgotten meaning of culture, that is the root of human being, is alienation from his or her environment. So we didn't know sa atong gipuy-an now sa ato ang ahatang location or ahatang home atong gikuan, but we are here as to dwell or to live in our specific area or responsibility. So in here, according to him, culture traces its etymological roots from the Latin cultus, which means yielding of respect, honoring sacredness of all that is. So it means that we are yielding of respect, or it is the honoring sacredness of all that is. So it tells that culture is not originally opposed to nature, but is essentially understood as the human being's role in it. So as a human being, we are part of it in the part of we are part of it as we engage, or we in part of a dweller in culture. So here, to be a person of culture, it is to be someone who recognizes the nobility of being. He adds, the homo hominus of ancient Rome. The man of culture, it is one who cultivates his life, not leaving it at the mercy of his momentary whims and their gratification, but ordering, but ordering it according to its moral sense. So one sees how Aristotle's notion of virtue and practical wisdom is echoed in this quotation. In such context, the human being may be considered as a rational being that has given it to the immediate demands of physical gratification at the expense of his or her capacity to rationally locate his or her essential place and natural environment. So, kita as a human being, we're rationally made of nga, kita lang nga kuan nga, they're nga part of natural environment, they're natagikan, or we are such a came from the kind of individuality or the kind of culture. So most times, human beings preserve nature as a world devoid of human existence, a pristine environment ruled by natural selection. So we as a human being, we know that we devoid of a human existence nga kita lang daw nga nag-exist of this world, or na-exist of this world of such a environment ruled by a natural selection. So kita daw nagkuan daw ta nga kita daw nga apart daw ta sa rule nga mahimo tang natural selection to be dwell in this world. So this world is interpreted as supposed to be the world of culture and civilization, where skyscrapers paint the horizon and marvels of engineering, science, and technology fill cities with artifacts of innovation and progress. So we as such a human being, so we are made of here nga para mo-dwell into a new and innovative world. So naajud kita diri here no nga nag-exist of being a human being or such a dweller. So operating within the purview of such a dichotomy. So what is a dichotomy? A dichotomy is a division or contrast between the two things that are presented as being opposed or different. So we are not such a the same people, or we are not such a the same human being, but we have a opposition or have a different kind of life or divided of kind of culture. So the human being is seen as an invader of nature, as a being who corrupts that is natural and discreates what is unspoiled by intentions of greed or covetousness. So of a human being, so kita daw mo ay na hinungdan or corrupt of this world nga na ay mga any kinds of intentions of greed or mga covetousness, kana bitawng mga uncertainty things nga atong mga nihimo or something badly things nga para daot ang kind of world nga atong gidwell. The human person may be likened to a bulldozer that levels nature for the purpose of building and erecting his or her monuments that serve as testaments to the undisputable reign of reason over all that exists. Seen in this light, to be ethical seems to be implied the necessity of limiting or minimizing the human person's presence in nature. So, in here, uh, in her text, whether as Kuhak intentions, culture is actually the human being's role in nature. So, we are in here as a human being. We are here, we have here made because we have a role to made and we have a part of being in this part of this world. So it adds that it involves the cultivation and recognition of value that all exist. We are all exist and we are made of existing to be a person or to be part of the kind of duality in culture. To be a person of culture is to be ethical. So as a so additionally, so to being a person and part of a culture or being a human being or a dweller, you must be a what? To be a person of culture is to be an ethical. So we need to have an ethical act or ethical human human act such a behavior.
So, good afternoon everyone. Today I'll be talking about Kohak. This discusses the relationship between humans, culture, and nature, primarily focusing on the concept of ethics and how it relates to human behavior and environmental sustainability. So, the author Kohak asserts that culture is a reflection of a human being's role in nature and is tied to the ethical responsibility of recognizing the value of all that exists. To be a person of culture is to act ethically. Aristotle's concept of ethics is referenced. Ethics involves choosing the right course of action according to the circumstances and one's place in those circumstances. For Aristotle, ethical living is about finding the mean, or the mesotes, between extremes and doing so habitually. So, over the past couple of centuries, however, humans have lost control over their desires and appetites, often giving into the pursuit of material wealth and capital accumulation. This unchecked desire for progress has harmed nature and threatens the human species as it pushes the world towards self-destruction. The author claims that modern humans have lost the moral sense to manage their desires and action in harmony with nature. Kohak suggests that humans must recognize their essential and moral place within nature to heal the damage caused by greed. He questioned whether human existence in nature is justifiable between practically and morally given the amount humans take from the earth for their needs and desires. He calls for reflection on how humans justify their costly existence in nature.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Sharon Joyma, and I'm going to report about the reflects on these scripts from Kohak's using either Singer or Regan's ideas. So Kohak challenged the notion of human superiority over other species. He argues that the natural observer examining humanity's impact on the earth would question our claim to be a higher species. Despite our technological advancement, humans have caused significant environmental harm and displayed a lack of compassion towards other beings. He prompts us to reflect on why human suffering is of the superiorized over that of animals, asking why a dog's sufferings should be deemed less important than a human. Second, for the conclusion, so ethics is often seen as a study limited to human interaction. It rarely extends to begin with lower consciousness or to the environmental that sustain life. Emphasize the importance of treating the natural environment ethically, recognizing it as a complex biotic community. It highlights the urgent needs to address climate change and the consequences of human action on all beings. Sentient or not, philosopher like Singer, Reagan, Taylor, and Leopold challenged the notion of human superiority, suggesting that the ethical relations with nature begins by seeing ourselves as part of it. Environmental ethics are deemed foundational as they underpin all other ethical relationships, stressing that ethical living involves respecting and sustaining the environment for survival. That's all.